Well, howdy, and welcome back once again to the Withlacoochee River Railroad and to Monday Night Maintenance Madness. This time we're still we're still working on this here structure, which is a general store. It was just called the General Store by Ameritown Models, who were the ones that put the kit out. Kit's a little tougher to put together than you think, but I'm beyond that now. The kit's all together, and I think it's got plenty missing off of it. It needs to have added pretty much to it. First of all, I do have it in primer, and the inside of the building is painted black, and I have blocked up the corners with bits and pieces of styrene. You know, that way if I light the structure, you won't have the light bleeding out through certain areas. At least that was the whole idea. The front of the building has a false front, and the sides and back of the building is cut stone, randomly cut stone. Almost like cobblestone in the road. It's a neat little building. There's no question of that. I do have plans for adding on to it. Again, like so many O-scale kits, they seem to forget that, you know, windows actually have glass in them. And I'm gonna show a different way in this one on how and maybe expensive in the long run way of putting glass in to this structure. It's going to involve using clear Scotch tape or Scotch type tape and Elmer's school glue, clear glue, which let me show you what those look like here. It's a trick, and I'm going to give credit for this one. Oh, great. I'm going to give credit to this little trick from to our friend over at Toy Trains Tips and Tricks, as he recently fixed up locomotive windows and stuff with this stuff. But that's not for this episode. This episode is strictly going to be a painting episode. And so that's what we are going to do, is paint the building. One of the things that you always hear about these people that build these plastic buildings, I just can't make it look realistic. I can't just make it look realistic. Well, I'll tell you what. A little bit of paint does go a long way in making a building look realistic. Now, would it match the real thing perfectly? No, of course not. But a little bit of paint and a little knowledge of what the building should look like will, of course, bring out the detail. It'll make the detail pop a little bit. And really all you need, you don't need it to be fantastic detail. So with all of that said and done, let us get started. First thing you want to do is figure out what color do you want to paint the building. Well, first of all, the random stone is going to have to be painted various shades of earth tones to make the stone come out. Other than that, I'm thinking white and maybe white with red on white, blue on white. Another thing I think should be added to the building, on either side, you have freight doors on the sides of the building, on both sides. Now, you'll only want to add a dock on one side. You know, add just a little concrete dock on one side, and maybe a added extension on another side with a little bit more modern type materials other than how this one was built. And then, of course, every general store in the country that I know of has gas pumps. So, but we'll have, you know, when we start getting this built into an actual scene, that's how the gas pumps, that's when the gas pumps will come into play. I think the building should have an awning on it, because it helps, you know, especially here in the hot sun, having that awning out front cools things off as people come up on your doorstep and then walk in, you know, as patrons. It cools things off a little bit, and it keeps the sun from beaming right into the windows and heating up the inside exponentially. So, you know, we need to have really front of the building an awning. Now, I'm going to wait to put that on until after I've painted the front. Like I said, I've already got it in gray primer. And I'm going to take and, you know, in the next episode of Monday Night Madness, we're going to take and put glass in it. And like I said, transparent tape, not the invisible tape. The invisible tape is always, you know, that frosty tape, unless you want it frosty. Maybe you want the place closed down, and you know. But no, it takes transparent tape and Elmer's clear washable school glue. So, like I said, that's for another time. So, in the meantime here, let's grab my thingy, that thingy, and what we're going to need to do here is start grabbing our colors. Okay, I've got Folk Art Vintage White. Okay, that'll be a good start. This is for the facade. Naturally, we're going to need some burnt umber. Skin tone? Yeah, why not? Nutmeg brown. And we're going to need the contrasting color for the front of the building. I think there should be some contrasting colors. What do you think? We're going to need wood color for the side doors and probably the back door. Although we could probably paint those white too. Let's see, what all have I got here? That's a nice shade of green there. Alright, we will probably take and use all of these. Alright. Alrighty, and let's, we're going to get, our base coat through here is going to always be white, of course. Of course. Most everybody uses white on these structures like this. Probably for good reason. Oh, got that started. Alrighty. Of course, you always want to shake your bottles of paint. And I'm just going to use these simple acrylic paints that you would find at any art supply store. You'll find them at any Walmart, of course. Let me see if this is any good. Who knows? Yeah, it looks almost like an olive drab or a Pullman green. Okay, so we'll do green on the front. I don't think I've got any blue. And we'll need some burnt umber. And the burnt umber will also, act as the, as the color of the boardwalk here. Yes, this building has a boardwalk. Alrighty. So, what we're going to do, we're using this paint full strength. We're not gonna, it'd be silly to use it any other way. You notice, like I said, this building has what we call a false front, a western false front on it. Now you're beginning to see why I put it in gray primer. Now y'all might be wondering why I'm not just using the airbrush to paint the building. First of all, I've got to put too many colors on this building. Like I said, the block work or the stone work on the sides is going to require that sort of thing. It's going to require various shades of earth tones. Unless you want to paint the stonework, that could have been done too, but not nearly as likely. Stonework would have been left probably much more natural. All right. And we're just going to get this front of this building all covered in this classic white. And we're going to let it dry. And you'll see that this paint it works pretty well. I've been using it for a number of years in painting structures. I use it when I'm weathering rolling stock, believe it or not. This is what I've been using. Whether it's brushed on and dry brushed on or whatever. All right. And I think I'm going to paint the side doors and the back door and window trim in this same white. Only the facade is going to have, and I know it looks terrible at first, but it does really come out okay in the end. Yeah, I thought of painting it blue and white, blue on white, I guess. You know, the trim color on the facade would be, you know, nice, you know, a blue color. And then I got to thinking, you know, here's the problem. That would make it look more like a gas station. Well, it don't need to be a gas station. I'm not building a gas station here, even though it will have gas pumps, because why? It's a general store. General stores always have gas pumps. Alrighty. Some things can truly be a pain in the butt. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and I know we're painting the backs, the back door and stuff. You know, yeah, I'm going to have my plan is to have the building facing the front, have the front facing out so people can see it. But you never know if you're going to make a contest diorama out of something like this. You'll want to detail it just as much in the back as you would the front. Because that's how the model's going to be looked at in a contest. Yeah, getting some of that white paint on the block work there. That's not a good thing. That's just my sloppy work. Alrighty. A little bit more of the white here. Tell you what, outside of these acrylic paints, it's getting much, much more difficult to get decent paint to work with these days. I don't know if you all have noticed that. Testers, well, hell, they're all but gone. You can still get good spray paints at Hobby Lobby and at Walmart and Home Depot and Lowe's and all of that. You can still get pretty decent spray paints. You can actually get more what they would call the shortcuts, which was something that was put out by Krylon, Krylon is now owned by our good friends at Rust-Oleum now, just like Testers. So how long the Krylon name will be around and how long the shortcuts will be around, they're probably pretty popular in the like Hobby Lobby and some Michaels stores and things like that. So the shortcuts are probably going to stick around. They've been around for a while, but they're pretty decent paints. Alrighty, now need to get that brush cleaned and. Well, I just use a different brush here. Got to get the water off of it. Like I said, I've been using these paints for a while. Alrighty. Now, I'm going to go with the burnt umber. And we're going to come in and we're going to kind of... Now, don't think that this is the only color going onto the boardwalk here. In fact, if it were up to me, I'd have a concrete entrance to this general store. Because, you know, I do a much more modern age. But these people, they like the little bit of a Wild West rustic look of it. which it would still have even with a concrete entrance. Okay, there we go. We got that much done and out of the way. You know, you've got one contrasting color in. So we will probably dry brush a little gray or something like that onto there. And what we got to do now is just kind of let the building dry. And the reason I'm going to let the building dry is so that I can work, the paint will be a dry enough surface that I can paint over what I've got to paint over. So we'll be right back. Now to start over, we're going to go with a barn red. I'm just waiting for some touch-ups to dry on the white. And we'll be back here in, a little bit to start doing our detail painting. The boardwalk is also drying a little bit, and I'm going to go over that. I don't know that I have really any decent wood colors here that I could dry brush onto the boardwalk. I'm hoping I do. I think it would look it would give the boardwalk a little bit of character that it doesn't seem to have. But we'll get to it in just a few minutes. Now that I'm kind of waiting on the facade to dry a little better, still not real happy with it, we're going to come in and we're going to start staining the sides here. And what I'm using is burnt umber, some nutmeg brown, and burnt umber, nutmeg brown, and there was another one here. Maybe I'll run a mixture of the two. Now what I'm going to do, and I'm bringing my brush cleaning water over here, because I just really want to stain all of that. Okay. Into the water it goes. And that will give you... crap. I'm not worried about that. That's going to be a sharp... Yeah, there we go. Okay. We just want to get a dirty rock, because that's basically what it is. You come back in, grab a little burnt umber, and just kind of randomly paint some stones. And while this might look a little disjointed at the moment, when we put the final black wash on, and trust me people, you put the black wash on everything, okay? You always put the black wash on everything. Alright. Like I said, you go into random places on the stone and just get a little bit, you know, get it spotty. It's not going to hurt anything to have it looking a little spotty. Oh. No, I want the burnt umber, not the barn red. Okay. You go around the building doing that all the way around. So don't worry about hitting that door with it. It's not going to hurt anything. Now, we're not going to worry about detailing the back nearly as much because I'm not intending for people to necessarily see that. I was just explaining earlier, though, if you're building a contest model, we can touch that door up here in a little bit. So, if you're building a contest model, then you're going to want to detail the back as much as you do the front. Because they're going to look at the model from all sides. Okay. Normally, yeah, I would be, if that was absolutely finished right there, I'd be having a fit. But no, I'm not having a fit. Not me. Anyway, we're going to get these 3 sides done. Can come in with the burnt umber. Go over it a little bit. I'm only using about 2 colors here. Now, one of the things that randomly doing this on each side, because both of the side walls are identical to each other. So, you know, you don't want them to be identical. And when we come in and we do the black wash, it'll really bring it all together in such a way that it will look almost correct. It's never going to be absolutely perfect. Alrighty. Next, we want to kind of get the roof properly colored. And for that, I may use asphalt or pavement. There is basic black, jet black. What do you know? I don't know where my pavement color went to. But there is one thing that I can do. I can use the black, and I can come into it with and that'll give it kind of a proper tone. So Oops. Okay, I put a lot of gray in, and we're going to blacken it just a little bit. Okay, we're going to blacken it hopefully quite a bit. You'll want to use a bigger brush for this because you're painting the roof. You don't really want to spend all day on the roof. Mix the paint together. You don't have to mix it perfectly because it can. But you can see that with that, one of the things that this paint will do with that primer on there is stick to that primer very well. It's sprayed on gray primer. You pick it up at any Walmart, you pick it up at any Lowe's, any Home Depot, and I mixed way too much paint there, but alrighty. I know I've got some pavement paint around, which is basically an asphalt color. And roofs are typically shingled with asphalt shingles. Alrighty. Now I'm not worried about getting the back of that false front. I'll go ahead and probably just paint over that as well with this same color. So, because it's not intended to be seen from the front. Okay. Yes, I intend to detail the chimney. No, the chimney was put on this morning. So, and of course I'm actually doing this video, or making the video, on Saturday. Hopefully we'll have it edited by tomorrow and have it going on for Monday. Don't know if I'm going to work Monday or not, so. And of course we had several things kind of go wrong this week. Daylight savings time being among them. Alrighty. Oh, I still got plenty of paint in there. I'm going to go ahead and take care of that while I'm at it. Yeah. And yes, that is just regular water in that. When you're doing a back end like that with a sharp edge like that, you want to kind of come up the back side of it. I'm not going to worry about that because that edge will probably end up painted barn red. But it'll give you a nice sharp contrast in color here, right there, just as you see it. Okay. Almost forgot to get that, didn't I? Alright. We're going to sit there, we're going to let that set and dry for a little bit. And by George, I'm hoping I have it looking good when we come back. Or at least I hope I'm in good enough shape to have it looking good when we come back. Okay, we're back. Now, this is one of those things that you may want to start from the top and work your way down. You got to be a little careful with this, and it's really difficult for me to be able to get this right. If I can't really hold the model up, I'm trying to keep it within the view of the camera here and kind of show you how it's done, because I like to get in very close to the edges. So what I'm getting up here is the is the top of the false front. Yeah, it's going to look okay, I think. The green did not work out well. One thing about these paints, they are thin enough that they're kind of hard. And they will kind of load the brush on you. So you got to kind of be careful with that. You want to be sure and get all of your lines covered. I know if you get a little bit on the, yeah, it's easy to touch up the white if you, that's the reason I use that white. Besides, it's fresh new paint, so it's, I just bought that, what, a couple of weeks ago at Hobby Lobby. Trying to stay as straight a line as I can, or as within the lines as much as humanly possible. Sometimes the relief is very easy, such as the old design preservations models that I used to do in both HO and N. Used to be fairly easy to stay within your lines there and get everything painted. And if you, again, it wasn't a big deal if you went and messed up the brick a little bit or whatever you were painting on a given structure. Looks like I got a little too much black on that edge. Now you see that turned out okay right there. That doesn't mean it's going to be okay all the way down. But one of the things we're going to do is, I don't know if I want to frame the building or if I just want to get these doors, the door and windows. I know I'm going to get the door and windows. Remember, the doors and windows in the back, all the doors and window in the back are all painted white. Okay. Yeah, I'm already going to see some. Okay. And just leave the rest of that trim white. make life a little bit easier here when I go to alrighty. Again, this is supposed to be a general store, and it has gas. They have beer and cigarettes too, and even a few cigars. Cheap cigars, but cigars nonetheless for the cigar connoisseur. Now, one thing I can say for these Ameritown structures so far, it's kind of like putting together and painting a design preservation structure. Fairly easy, straightforward construction. Now, I might just leave that pretty rustic like that. Have a little bit of white bleeding through. That'll help with the aging process anyway. All right. I'm sure that's how Mrs. Deschamps would want it, since she's the one that runs the store, right? Yeah, I'm going to have a little touching up to do. But when you're touching up the bigger part that you're trying to miss now, it's a little easier than touching up the small parts. Like the window mullions and the window and the stuff of that nature. Okay. Yeah, I went a little wide on a couple of things there. It's all right, we'll get it. These paints, they act more like stains after they age for a while, which is fine if you're painting wood, actual wood kits. Alrighty. Okay. That's not looking too good, is it? Let me get my brush washed out, and we'll start by getting a little bit of white paint on it. Yeah. Get all the red out of that so that it doesn't taint the white. There we go. Alrighty. Guess I'm using the same brush. I know that's a violation of model railroad rules. I don't care. See, now if I can work to stay away from the red window a little bit. See. Alrighty. And you see it starts to take on a little bit different characteristic once you get some of that straightened out. You get all that widened window stuff straightened out and that you didn't mean to. And you're gonna end up going back and forth with it, as you can see, because it always seems to. Well, no, that's. Yeah, we'll get that fixed. Not to worry. Problem I'm running into here is. Okay. That's just the way it is. I mean, we all got to do the touch-ups, don't we? It's easier touching up the main color than it is the... Yeah. But we're pretty much done with this episode. If you liked it, give it a like, give it a thumbs up. Yeah, I'll come back and I'll do that off camera because it's a little easier for me to do it off camera when I'm working on a structure, as it is probably for everybody. So in the meantime, just recognize that it's a straightforward process to get your stuff painted. A very straightforward process. Yeah, I know, I made a little bit of a mess on the front. I'll fix that. Not to worry. Right now, it's just getting a little late out, and because my eyesight ain't the greatest, it's getting dark outside, and you know, daylight savings time happened a little over a week ago, or about a week ago, and I really hate daylight savings time. They need the government needs to get out of our business and leave things alone is what they need to do. But we know government. They can't be trusted with anything. Anyway, until next time, happy railroading.